and we're going to continue to use every tool we have at our disposal here in the Ontario Legislature to stop the government from paving over our greenbelt.
Mark, what do you make of Commander's answer on summons today? The technical issue summons.
Oh, right, yes. The one I asked.
Yeah.
You know what? What answer, right? Like, I just don't see it. I think this government, at the end of the day, continues to refuse to answer our questions about the integrity and accountability of this government. We know that there are some important questions that have arisen that Ontarians are concerned about, the lack of transparency, the appearance of conflict, and that's serious. And then this government continues to reward their donors, their failed conservative candidates with appointments, with development opportunities. They're all benefiting off of this government's policy decisions at the expense of Ontarians. So I was hoping I would hear a really clear okay from the government that they were going to ensure that all of their ministers will appear before the Integrity Commissioner is called. I'm certainly concerned because we know that the Minister of Health and the Premier refused to go to Ottawa when they were summoned there in the convoy inquiry. So, obviously we're concerned that they're going to do the same thing here.
And today Ford said at the press conference, asked about the police services board appointment, he said we want like-minded people on the board. That kind of dovetails the stuff that Doug Downey had said a while ago, the changes that he was making to judges' appointments. He said at the time, we want people who share our values and that only he can determine that. Wondering what you make of it.
I think that's really scary. I think that the government often accuses everybody else of leading with ideology. This is a government that is making decisions purely based on ideology, on who's giving them the biggest donations and who their friends are. And these are important boards and tribunals and appointments that actually make big decisions that impact real people's lives. And it's not to be taken lightly. So I would hope, and I think Ontarians have a right to expect, that their government is going to appoint people who are knowledgeable, who have the best interests of Ontarians at heart, who have skills and experience that they can bring to those appointments, and that it's not just based on the fact that they share the views of the current government or sat at the Premier's table at a wedding reception. Is that what we have come to here in Ontario? Is that who we are? That it's who you know and how much you donated that gets you to the table now? That get you that appointment? I thought we were beyond that. I think a lot of Ontarians did too, and I certainly don't think that's the Ontario that most of us want to see. So, yeah.
Back on the Rouge Park announcement, the Premier said that he's not worried. He says that this is adjacent where they're developing. What are your thoughts on that?
I think that the Premier doesn't maybe understand the impact. I would wonder whether or not the Premier is maybe he doesn't understand the impact of the decisions he's making on the potential on species at risk on the Rouge Park. It's concerning to me that he sees it that way. Any development in that greenbelt has an impact on other nearby adjacent areas. So it is significant, and that's, I think, a really important point. It's been a point that's been made by many people who care about the greenbelt. So there's much to be concerned about. There's the loss of agricultural land. There's the loss of potentially of species at risk, important ecosystems, of that carbon sink. And these are all really important arguments. And again, I would hope that the federal government, will use every tool they have at their disposal to hold up the development of the greenbelt.
Mart, how come you guys haven't brought up Vincent Cuzz's departure from the Conservative caucus? It's quite a significant thing. It's an odd for the opposition party not to pounce on the fact that a government MPP would have to leave caucus under amid controversy. Why haven't you brought it up?
I think there's lots of issues right now in Ontario. We have a healthcare crisis. We have many important issues. But I would say I really do hope that there is, as I've said before, a full public inquiry into a potential election interference in Canada, but at all levels, and in Ontario as well. I think that should be part of the inquiry. and that those questions should be asked, and it should be done in a public inquiry where we can shine light in those corners, because Ontarians and all Canadians have a right to expect that we have free and fair elections that are free of foreign interference.
Does it look bad on the Conservatives that he would leave like that? I mean, Ford said this morning that his office was briefed by CSIS last fall. Months later, Coe leaves the caucus.
Yeah, I think there's some important questions that should be asked. I would wonder what it was that the chief of staff to the premier learned. We know a little bit more today that he at least admits that he was briefed. Why didn't they make certain decisions related to the MPP? And what else were they told? I think these are important questions and they should be the subject of a public inquiry.
Is the province getting into a race to the bottom with subsidies for like the battery facility and stuff like that? We know there were some subsidies. The premier says we'll learn how much there are at some point, but the guess has got to be that they're going to be in the billions of dollars, and we have a budget coming up, and people are screaming for more program funding. Is there a race to the bottom when it comes to attracting these companies, and is that going to hurt public services?
I think that we deserve as Ontarians to know in some degree of transparency about how much money was spent to encourage that battery factory to be here. I mean, we're happy to see those jobs come to Ontario, but we are sitting right now with a government that is also sitting on billions in allocated funds that have not been spent in areas where we have crises, like in healthcare. Today I was asking the Minister of Health really important questions about, hospitals having to fire nurses because they aren't getting enough funding. We have a healthcare crisis in this province and a government that's making purely ideological decisions to benefit a few people, few very wealthy people already, at the expense of patient care in this province, and a government that's unwilling to spend the money to keep healthcare workers in our hospitals while they're fighting them in court to suppress their wages. I would like to see some transparency around all of these issues.
The government announced this morning some funding for skilled trades training, mostly with private sector. Yeah, private sector means. Do you think they're trying to squeeze out the public colleges?
I think that some of these training centers for skilled workers are really important. We need lots of ways to encourage skilled workers in our province. Absolutely. My biggest concern still remains, though, the FAO report coming out today showing that wages are still not keeping up with inflation. So I think unless we can figure out ways to actually ensure that people make a decent wage in the skilled trades, in other trades and occupations in our province, we're going to continue to see have a hard time attracting people into those fields.
Thank you.
Thank you.